It all starts with Krog, a kid who can turn into an animal and lives with his family in the mountains. Even though he can take human form, he spends most of his time as a puma, and he's strictly forbidden from having contact with people. Over the years, though, his curiosity about the human world grows too strong. One day he slips away from his family and is eventually adopted by a human couple. One morning, while eating breakfast with his new parents and siblings, Krog sees a troubling news report. Lately, there have been multiple animal attacks and strange accidents involving different species. After saying goodbye to his dad and siblings, he hops in the car with his adoptive mom, Anna. His sister Melody insists on riding along to drop Krog at his new school. During the drive, he notices something odd: two crows tailing them closely. He can't help wondering if they might be shapeshifters like him. By nightfall, the family stops at a hotel. The crows keep following. That same night, a noise wakes Krog. He looks out the window and spots a pack of wolves sprinting toward an alley. Suddenly, the lights in the building across the street go out. Next morning, they continue their trip and hours later reach Clearwater High School. As soon as Krog steps out, he confirms his suspicions. The crows shadowing them are actually students here. At that moment, Lisa, the principal, appears. She greets him with a smile and asks Anna how she found him. Anna explains that nothing is known about Krog's biological parents. Years ago, when she was a social worker, she got a call to rescue a child in danger. Seeing how terrified and distressed he was, she brought him home and convinced her husband to adopt him. When Krog was about to start middle school, an invitation arrived from Clearwater High. She figured it was the perfect chance for him to make friends since he'd always felt out of place in the city. After answering questions, Lisa asks to speak with Krog alone and drops a bombshell. At this school, everyone's a shapeshifter. He doesn't have to hide anymore. Just then, the school alarm blares. Lisa steps outside and finds Anna and Melody strolling through a restricted area. She orders her assistant to escort them out immediately. Meanwhile, Krog is amazed. He's never seen so many shifters in one place. In the hall, he runs into Jeffrey and his pack. Tension sparks instantly, but James steps in before it escalates. After the official welcome, Anna says goodbye. She and Melody head for the car just as Andrew, the wealthy donor who funds the school, arrives. Krog meets him a bit later and admits in confidence that he left the mountains because he felt there had to be more to being than just a puma. Something he'd never discover if he stayed there forever. When Krog reaches his dorm, the principal lays out the basic rules. As soon as she leaves, a squirrel pops up at his window. He lets it in and realizes it's not an ordinary squirrel. It's Holly, assigned as his guide to help with his first transformation class. In class, the teacher reminds everyone they may only use their powers during lessons and must be careful not to be seen by humans while practicing. Krog is picked to demonstrate, but right before he can transform, Brandon steps forward. The Bison Boy shifts, can't hold his human form, and quickly loses control. Seeing that, Krog hesitates. He isn't in tune with his animal side and decides not to transform. With Lisa's help, he recalls running through the forest with his biological family. The memory reconnects him to his essence and finally pushes him to reveal his animal form. The principal then orders everyone else to do the same, and Krog realizes most students are wolves. Lisa explains he'll learn to balance his two natures, human and animal, to become a mediator between both worlds. Later, while resting, Brandon shows up to announce he'll be Krog's new roommate. Soon after, Holly comes by to say it's dinner time. In the cafeteria, Krog meets Dorian, a boy who turns into a cat. Before the school, Dorian lived as a pet with a human family, until they caught him opening a sardine can with his own hands. After Krog revealed his animal form, many began to respect him, though some feared him. For weaker students, his presence alone was intimidating. One boy who shifts into a small horse tried to go unnoticed but crossed paths with Jeffrey and got in trouble. Krog jumps in to defend him, which only creates more problems. The wolves try to intimidate him, but James arrives just in time to break it up. That night, Krog dreams of his family until a loud crash jolts him awake. Brandon transformed in his sleep and destroyed his bed. It happens once or twice a week, he says, and Krog realizes his nights won't be so peaceful. Next day in combat class, Borda and Brandon are chosen to spar. The bison refuses and leaves, declaring he's a pacifist. The teacher picks Krog. Since he still doubts himself, Andrew hands him a small pouch of puma urine to awaken his instincts. One whiff, and he transforms. Despite being smaller than Borda, he overpowers him with raw strength and resolve. Then it's Dorian's turn, but the stench of his opponent sends the cat running, handing over the win. After class, Andrew offers to mentor Krog and even gives him the pouch, promising a bright future. Jeffrey burns with jealousy. He can't stand the donor fawning over the newcomer. He challenges Krog to a duel with the wolves, promising to back off if Krog wins. That afternoon, Krog meets his friends in the treehouse and tells them. Brandon warns he could get expelled, but Krog's done being mocked and won't back down. Holly vows to support him. Nervous yet excited, Brandon admits he can't wait to see those wolves get what they deserve. That night, Krog, Holly, and Brandon sneak out. Krog sniffs the pouch, connects with his animal side, and transforms. At the dueling spot, he asks who he's facing and realizes it's a trap. Not two wolves, Jeffrey's whole pack. Even so, Krog doesn't retreat. He's stronger than any one of them, but outnumbered, he's attacked from behind and swarmed. Seeing the danger, Holly shoves Brandon off a cliff ledge so he can drop down and help. While the bison distracts them, Krog fights with everything he has. At last, Jeffrey and his pack are forced to retreat and accept defeat. Next morning in class, James notices several students are injured and sends them to the infirmary. The excuses don't land. It's obvious they fought. Right as Krog is about to be questioned by the principal, he gets an unexpected invite. Andrew wants to take a drive. On the ride, Krog realizes the millionaire already knows what happened. Andrew says a true puma shouldn't have needed help, even 4 against 1. Since Krog left his biological family too early, he never learned to hunt. Andrew decides to teach him. He wants to turn him into a complete predator. Afterward, he brings Krog back, but Liza intercepts them. She's upset and forbids Andrew from giving Krog or any student special treatment. She tells Krog that if he wants to stay, he must follow the rules and never fight outside class again. When Lisa leaves, Holly and Brandon show up to ask what happened. Just then, Krog sees Lou heading into the forest and follows. Together, they overhear teachers discussing the recent attacks. They're convinced the animals didn't act alone. Shapeshifters are behind it. The greatest danger is if humans discover the truth. Peaceful coexistence would be impossible. Lisa and the council have to stop the attacks. On the way back, Krog admits that during his trip with his mom and Melody, he saw 4 wolves attacking humans in a nearby town, and he's sure it was Jeffrey's pack. Next day, Andrew keeps his promise and takes Krog into the forest for a first hunting lesson. The more he practices transforming, the easier it becomes to control both forms and balance the best of each. Before attacking, a puma chooses its prey, watches from a distance, and sets the ambush. Krog tries and successfully takes a deer. They share the meal, and on the way back, Andrew confides he once had a daughter who would be Krog's age if she'd lived. Later at recess, Lou notices Krog isn't eating and asks if he's hungry. He tells her he went hunting that morning and caught his first prey. Lou goes quiet, stands, and walks away, remembering when a puma attacked her mother and left her permanently scarred. Wanting to make it right, Krog follows into the forest, but no matter how hard he tries, he can't catch her. That night, trying to sleep, Krog hears Jeffrey's howls. Curious, he looks out and sees the pack plotting in secret. He follows them to the nearest town and watches the wolves scare off a security guard to slip into a factory. Just as he catches them in the act, the wolves realize he's there and move to attack. Before it starts, Andrew appears, shuts it down, orders the wolves to the car, and drives everyone back. Then he keeps Krog back, and the truth comes out. Andrew is behind the recent attacks. The revelation crushes Krog. He never should have trusted him. Andrew opens up. Years ago, a hunter killed his wife and daughter in the forest. Since then, he's grown to hate humans, convinced they subjugate animals and push species to extinction. For half a century, the school council has tried to steer humans to protect nature. Nothing changed. It's worse. That's why Andrew decided to act. A woman arrives with dinner. Krog notices her mechanical leg. Andrew explains she's a snake shifter who was run over in animal form. During dinner, Andrew invites Krog to join his plan. Krog refuses. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. Andrew says the goal isn't to harm humans directly, but to sabotage machines, slowing projects that destroy habitats. Krog promises to think about it and keep the secret for now. Next morning, he helps Brandon train. The bison barrels clumsily through the trees and ends up getting clipped by Krog's adoptive parents' car as they arrive to visit. To cover, Krog rushes to greet them and brings them to his room. Inside, Anna finds a squirrel rifling through his stuff and gets a scolding from the principal about visiting hours. Before leaving, Anna says she'll be staying in a nearby town for the weekend and invites Krog to join. He agrees immediately while the family heads off to fix the car. Soon after, Andrew calls to invite him to a special event that same weekend. Krog declines. He'll be with his family, and makes clear he doesn't approve of hurting people. Andrew hangs up abruptly, leaving Krog uneasy. To clear his head, Krog goes deep into the forest to practice transforming. After several miles, Wing appears, worried. As they talk, a drone buzzes overhead. Wing recognizes it, a hunter's. Dogs are already tracking the puma. Krog runs and hides in the treetops. But the drone follows. To protect him, Wing destroys it and yells for Krog to keep running. After a long sprint, Krog stops to catch his breath, when Shadow, one of the crow girls, appears and tosses him clothes so he can shift back. With friends' help, he makes it back toward campus, but collapses at the edge from exhaustion. Andrew finds him and takes him home to rest. When Krog wakes, he describes the chase, and can't shake the thought that what happened to Andrew's family might have happened to his own. Troubled, he commits to the Millionaire's project and agrees to fight alongside him. Before their first mission, Andrew admits he sent shifters to search for Krog's biological family and promises they'll find them if they're alive. Soon after, Krog's adoptive mom calls to cancel the trip. She remembered an important appointment. Brandon and Holly show up, worried, but Krog, suddenly distant, tells them to leave. He heads out with Andrew and the others toward the mine. Andrew splits the team. Krog will keep forest animals away, while Jeffrey and the wolves evacuate workers to avoid injuries. After scaring off rabbits, Krog is horrified to realize his parents are camping nearby. Panicked, he calls Andrew, who insists he saw them in the valley, and says they're safe. Even so, tension spikes. Spooked by wolves, the workers flee in a truck. As the humans drive off, Dan climbs onto the vehicle to release stacked logs. Krog begs him to stop. His family could be in danger. Brandon and Holly arrive to back Krog, complicating everything. When Shadow and Wing appear overhead, the wolves panic. They don't want to get reported or expelled. So they bolt. Lou tries to reason with Derek, telling him there are better ways to halt the mine and that destruction will only trigger human retaliation. Derek doesn't listen. He shoves Lou, enraging the crows who attack. Furious, Derek shifts into a grizzly. Brandon leaps in to protect his friends, Holly joins, and Krog, now a puma, manages to throw Dan off the truck. Andrew jumps in, clears the logs, jamming the wheels, and the vehicle starts rolling. Feeling betrayed, Andrew lunges at Krog, and they fight. But when Krog sees the logs tumbling toward the valley where his family is, he abandons the fight and sprints to save them. The logs crash down the cliff. Anna yells for everyone to hide, but Melody doesn't hear. Her headphones are on. By the time she realizes, it's too late. The logs are on her. She screams. Then, at the last second, Krog, still a puma, slams her out of danger. Anna races to her daughter and breaks down when she finds her alive. Trembling, Melody says a puma saved her, though Donald insists she must be imagining things. Moments later, Lou and the others find Krog unconscious in the forest. For a terrifying second, they think he didn't make it. Then the big cat opens his eyes and everyone exhales. As soon as he regains strength, Krog rushes to check on his family. Andrew shows up, claiming he was nearby when it happened, and calls a helicopter to take the family to the hospital. Thankfully, they're all okay. Once Krog's parents leave safe and sound, he explodes and warns Andrew he'll tell the head mistress who's really behind the attacks. Andrew counters with a chilling reveal. He's found Krog's biological family roaming the Yellowstone Mountains, and he'll share the exact location only if Krog stays quiet. Just then, Lisa arrives. Andrew pins the mine assault on Derek. The headmistress isn't fully convinced Andrew had nothing to do with it. But when police sirens echo, she decides to go, promising a full investigation. Back at school, Krog and his friends are welcomed as heroes. Word of what they did spreads fast. Don't forget to subscribe and drop your thoughts about the movie in the comments.